was a cold December morning. The scent of smoky jollof rice filled the air as Bode's wife, Funke, carefully packed it in a food cooler for her husband and son. Laughter from children playing nearby echoed through the neighborhood. Bode adjusted the straps of his travel bag and glanced at his teenage son, Tunde, who stood by the doorway, scrolling through his phone. The boy had just returned from boarding school, taller and leaner than before. Tunde, hurry up! I don't want us on the road after dark, Bode called. Okay, Daddy. Tunde replied, stretching out his hands to collect the cooler of jollof rice his mother had prepared. Wait, Funke said. Let's pray before you leave. Bode sighed. Oh, please. There is no time for that. We are in a hurry and God understands. Abi, is it God that would drive us to the village? Funke opened her mouth to protest but stopped herself. She had noticed something else. Her son had changed. Once a devoted child who prayed before meals and at dawn, he now seemed indifferent to fate. Tunde, you too? You won't pray? She asked, watching him closely. You don't pray anymore, do you? Don't be like your father. Tunde shrugged, barely looking up. I still believe in God, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, Mom. Besides, missing prayer doesn't change anything. Bode looked at his wife but said nothing. He was used to her complaint about his lack of devotion. Instead, he placed the last bag in the truck and turned to his son. Are you ready? Let's go. I can't wait to see my favorite big uncle. As they pulled out of the city, the road stretched ahead, winding through the thick forest and quiet villages. Neither father nor son knew that this journey would change their lives forever. The hum of the engine filled the silence between them. Bode focused on the road, while Tunde, lost in his music, stared absently at the passing trees. The deeper they drove into the countryside, the fewer cars they saw. After what felt like hours, Tunde pulled out one earbud and glanced at his father. Daddy, how long till we get there? Another 2 hours. The roads are cleared, Bode said. Tunde sighed and leaned back. This road is too quiet. It's like no one is traveling today. Bode chuckled. Some days are like that, my son. Especially this time of the month. Then the car jolted. The air grew heavier as they drove past. Up ahead, a lone figure stood at the middle of the road. As they approached the lone figure, Bode slowed down. It was a man dressed in worn-out agbada, his head slightly bowed as if deep in thought. The midday sun cast long shadows on the dusty road, making his face hard to see. Tunde, half asleep, stirred and looked up. Who is that, Daddy? His voice was thick with sleep. Bode didn't answer immediately. He had traveled this road many times, but he had never seen anything like this. Must be a madman, he muttered. I will drive carefully so I don't hit him. The man, now standing in front of their car, raised a hand, signaling them to stop. Bode hesitated before pulling over a few feet away. Please, sir, move away from the road, Bode called out through the open windows. The man took a step forward, his expression unreadable. I need a ride, he said calmly but firmly. Bode looked at Tunde, who shifted uncomfortably. Where are you going? He asked. The man smiled faintly. Just a little further down the road. I won't be your bother. Bode looked at him closely and thought, this must be a madman. Why would he be asking for a ride in the middle of nowhere? Something didn't feel right. but refusing could also be risky. Before he could decide, Tunde whispered, "Dad, let's not, please." Bode said to himself, maybe it was best to listen. Then he turned to the man. With a forced smile, he said, "We are not going too far ourselves. I don't think we can help you." The man stared at them for a minute too long, then nodded and stepped back. Safe journey. But they wasted no time driving off. As they pulled away, he checked the rear view mirror. The man was still standing there, watching them, unmoving like a statue. A shiver ran down Bode's spine. "That was weird," Tunde said. Bode didn't respond. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel and pressed the accelerator, forcing a chuckle. "If your mother was here, by now she would have screamed, 'Blood of Jesus!'" he said, shaking his head. "She will soon finish his blood." They both laughed. Bode tapped the steering wheel as he drove, nodding slightly to the rhythm of the music playing from the car speakers. Tunde sat beside him, scrolling through his phone, occasionally glancing out the window at the end stretch of the road. The silence was comfortable until Tunde's voice cut through it. "Dad, look, farm man." Bode followed his gaze. Standing by the roadside, dressed in a worn-out agbada, was the same man that had passed earlier. He stood in the exact same position, waving again. Bode's brow furrowed. "We passed that man already. This is impossible. Where did he come from?" He had no answer to his own question. He stepped on the accelerator, his heart pounding as they sped past. Back in the village, Bode's favorite uncle, Baba Kayode, had set a sinister plan in motion. He resented Bode for his success. Every time Bode's family visited the village, Baba Kayode felt a deep jealousy and intimidation. His 4 sons were nothing like Bode. 2 of them, Kunle and Shola, were nothing but village touts, feared by many but respected by none. The older 2 had jobs in the city, but they barely made enough to survive, let alone send money. Meanwhile, Bode, the nephew Baba Kayode resented the most, never failed to send money and bring loads of foodstuffs whenever he visited. Baba Kayode was bitter and unsatisfied. He had made up his mind, if his sons could not have what Bode had, then Bode would have nothing at all. That was why he called Bode home, and Bode had fallen for it, just as Baba Kayode knew he would. A family meeting, an urgent discussion that required Bode and his son's presence. His lip curled in a smirk as his phone buzzed. "Hello, uncle. I'm already on my way. You will see me in a few hours." Bode's voice came through. Baba Kayode giggled darkly. "Okay, my son," he said before ending the call. Then he muttered under his breath, "Not this time. He will not survive this journey. I know he doesn't pray." Just after Bode ended the call, he kept his focus on the road. The air inside the car felt heavy. An uneasy silence lingered between him and Tunde. Out of nowhere, a massive stone appeared in the middle of the road. Bode's eyes widened. He slammed the brakes. The car skidded. The tires squished. Bode fought to keep control, gripping the wheel desperately, but the car swerved violently. The massive stone had disappeared, suddenly vanished. The car tumbled. Everything blurred as the car flipped. Metal twisted. Car shattered. Bode and Tunde screamed as they were tossed around like rag dolls. The road became sky. The sky became road. The world spun. The impact sent Bode and Tunde hurtling inside, their bodies slamming against the seat as the world faded into darkness. Then, the stillness. No vehicles passed. The road remained quiet. After what felt like eternity, Buddy's eyes fluttered open. His head pounded, blood dripping from a deep gash on his forehead, staining his hands and soaking his shirt. He turned to his son. Tunde lay motionless beside him. His body lay in an unnatural twist. His face was pale, his breathing faint. One of his legs was bent at an odd angle. Panic surged through Buddy's veins. With trembling hands, he reached for his phone, broken beyond repair. Far away in the village, Papa Kayode sat in his hut, a wicked grin spreading across his face. He tapped his fingers against his knee, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. It is done. Let me see how he will come and show off again, stupid man. Back on the roadside, Buddy's voice cracked as he cried out, "Help me! Help me! Please, save my son!" But the road was deserted. No one came. His wife's warning about prayer rang in his thoughts. Buddy, you don't pray. One day you will need God. Tears mixed with the blood on his face. Desperation gripped his chest. He fell to his knee, his hands sticky with blood, clutching his son. God, please forgive me. Forgive me and save my son. I see it now. I was blind. I thought I could handle everything. But look at me now, helpless, powerless. I don't deserve your mercy, but please save my son. Take me instead. It is all my fault. Don't let him die for my foolishness. A distant car horn pierced the silence. Buddy's breath caught in his throat. The sound grew closer. Headlights cut through the darkness. A car slowed down. With his last strength, Buddy cried out, "Help us!" The driver pulled over. A man in a white coat. "Are you okay? Oh my God!" The man rushed towards them. By a stroke of fate, the driver was a doctor rushing to a nearby clinic for an emergency. To avoid traffic, he had taken the road that few cars used, a decision that saved their lives. Without wasting a second, the doctor administered first aid and carried them into his car. Buddy's wife received a call from the hospital, informing her of the incident. No, God, please, not my family," she cried as she rushed to the hospital. When she arrived, she saw that her husband's injury was severe, but her son's condition was even worse. She fell to her knees and prayed, "God, please save my family. Please forgive them. Please don't take them away from me." The doctors worked tirelessly until both of them began responding to treatment. By the next day, they showed more improvement. But they, having lost a lot of blood, remained weak, while Tunde couldn't walk, and he had to use a wheelchair until he recovered. Days later, while they were still in the clinic, a pastor came to pray for the sick. The moment he stepped into Buddy's room, he stopped. His expression grave. "There is something dark surrounding your family," he said. "Someone close to you had been seeking your downfall, but your wife's prayer have always protected you until that morning when you mocked the importance of prayer. It is your uncle in the village. He sent evil forces to distract you on your way. However, God is still merciful. God still showed you mercy when you asked him for it." Buddy's heart pounded. Why would he want me and my son dead? After everything we've done for him? The pastor sighed. He hates you because you are more successful than his sons. Do not return to your village again, and if you must, pray to God seriously and seek his guidance. Unaware of the current situation, Baba Kayode was happily making preparations for their burial when he received the news of their survival. His expression shifted from joy to pure rage. "The proud city man has fallen," he had been singing until the truth hit him. From that moment, nothing he tried against them worked. Bode and his family became deeply devoted to God, strengthening their faith. They also stopped sending money and gifts to the village. With no one to provide for Baba Kayode, his son struggled to take care of him. Left with no other option, he lived a much harder life until the day he died. Do you believe in the power of prayer? What did you learn from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting African tales. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Let's talk. What was the most interesting part for you? Bye!